thanks for tuning in. This is Optibottom coming with another video review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Robots in Disguise Warrior Class Sideswipe. One of the more main characters in the show, at least in the episode that I saw. And he's got this really cool looking, almost Ferrari or Lamborghini kind of mode. I really dig it. And then you got this really neat symbol here on his chest, which does carry through from the animation model. But overall, pretty cool looking. It looks fairly similar to his animation self, at least, you know, when you compare it to what we see right up there, unlike actually Jazz. This guy looks like how he looks in the show. You come around here to the back and it shows, obviously, the video game where you scan the Autobot logo and you're able to unlock him and play him in the game itself. And it shows that his transformation takes place in 10 steps and then all the instructions are listed right there. So instead of them giving you any kind of a bio or anything like that, basically they now put the instructions on the card. So you don't get the instructions on a piece of paper. That's included in the package. That's where they're sticking it. And then down here on the bottom you can see other figures, including the Deluxe Class Bumblebee, Deluxe Optimus, and obviously Autobot Jazz. But for the packaging, that's about it for it. Very standard and very similar to what we've got with the other Warrior Class figures from Robots in Disguise. So without further ado, let's get him open and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Sideswipe opened up and out of his packaging. And honestly, I gotta say that the vehicle mode and robot mode really aren't all that bad. Sideswipe really is kind of a fun character in the new cartoon series, and even though I only saw a couple episodes, he was definitely a character and personality that stood out. And I think they did a pretty good job here in the actual toy. Now, as you can see, vehicle mode, his little sword, I mean, I don't even know if this is actually supposed to peg in there. That's all I can imagine why that little slot is there. But you got these two little side tabs. It's not even really like a handguard because it doesn't wrap all the way around, but you do have the sword right there for him. But vehicle is pretty good. One thing that you are seeing though is that there is a distinct color difference. First of all, you can see that the doors don't match with the plastic on the outside here. So that's kind of unfortunate. Then you come around here to the top and you can see that the red here and here doesn't match with this red or this red. So they're having a hard time with the reds. Now obviously you got these little symbols here and on that side that are not meant to match with the rest of the red, but I don't know, it's kind of one of those things where I think they got a little bit lazy in terms of the color matching, and I really do wish that they would take a look at this a little bit more. I would imagine that they use just a simple grid that says 0034 is the red color that you want to use, but when it's applied to different materials it comes across completely different. I wish they would look at that and somehow modify that. It just seems like something that is a no-brainer. You got this nice black section here, which will become his feet. You got the Autobot sticker right there. You got some nice blue paint right up on the front, showing off his headlights. All in all, a pretty cool looking vehicle mode. You got some nice molded detail here. One thing that stinks is, though, as you can see, this piece right here, there is nothing you can do about that. That does not sit flush or far enough up where you can actually roll this. It's scraping the entire time. I mean, it doesn't even look, none of the wheels are even touching, just because it pushes that whole section up too much. So that's definitely a downside. I don't like that. Now, I thought maybe you could take this because the inside of these wheels are actually hollow. I thought maybe you could put this up here, but in doing so, and I mean, you can put it up there, but you don't, it ends up pushing out the tires a little bit, so it ends up just making these tires not work at all, and you can see it kind of bows them out. So I thought that was an option, maybe leaving the chest piece up, but it really isn't. Obviously in the bottom you can see like his body and his head and everything, but all in all, it's a cool looking vehicle mode. It just doesn't function at all. Now, for comparison, here is Jazz. As you can see, much smaller, sleeker vehicle, but still, I think a very similar stylistic approach that we're getting with the new figures in terms of the very angular sort of panels. I mean, you see that here with the front section, even the doors and things like that. It's very angular and I think looks pretty cool. Now, to transform him, first I'm just going to get this and flop this up, get that kind of out of the way. Take these legs, we're going to separate these, separate this section here. You're basically pulling everything apart just like that. Then wiggle this, kind of bring this whole section just like so. These legs, we're going to move these forward, and then this bit right here, this is going to rotate around, and in doing so you also then roll out his foot. So rotate this outer section around and make sure that you get the foot lift it up past this little section right here, bring that all the way around, just like that. Get this down, bring these arms out, just like so. This whole section here will loosen. Come on. That comes out. Why aren't you? There we go. That it tabs right up in there. So loosen it, bring that down. These bits right here, these whole top sections, these rotate around and then tuck behind. And it's while you're transforming him, he's not a hard transformation. He just has a lot of stuff that seems to get in the way of doing things. So it's not a very fluid transformation. Get that down there, kind of tuck all this up under there like so. Keep this down, bring this up. Now this part is where a lot of people have problems, and I do as well. You got a couple little connecting points. You got a little tab here and here that slot in right there and right there, right on his chest. And then on the outside here, on the black section, there's a little nub that is supposed to plug into this. The problem is this section here is pretty flush. These are pretty even in terms of the tab and the hole. This section, the slot where the tab goes in, is higher than the actual pins. So when you bring this up, locking that into place, you don't actually catch the little nubs on the round section here on the bottom part of his chest. So it doesn't really lock it in all that well. It's not terrible. I mean, you can see it is on that side, it's pretty bad. But I don't know why they did that. You can see though, I mean, if you look through here on the top, I mean, you're probably not going to be able to see it, but you can tell when you're looking at it in hand that it just isn't long enough. That tab is not long enough to reach up and grab the little hole sections. So it's a little unfortunate because it makes the actual shoulder area and chest section here just not really come together all that well. But all that done, fiddling with it some, straightening out his legs, there you have Sideswipe in his robot mode. But all in all, the guy really does look pretty cool. I mean, despite the way that the design here for the shoulder actually is implemented kind of stinking, he looks pretty nice. He definitely has a very cool kind of look for him. It really kind of fits with that animation model, and honestly, I really do dig the guy. I think his look is really very neat. I mean, he kind of has that going here where it makes it look like his hair is kind of greased and slicked forward. I like these little bits that come up here. It kind of resembles the way that his doors kind of hung off here in the back. These ones really don't obviously look like his doors, but it kind of gives that same look. And then I guess you could kind of complain, instead of here on the bottom of his forearms having just the little spikes like he does, he has these windows, which, I mean, at least it's something similar to it. It's not bad. But all in all, he might be, in addition to Bumblebee, one of my favorite looking and accurate representations of a character here in toy actual form. So really very cool. You got some back kibble right here, but again, that same logo stuff here carries on here on his chest. And then again, you do have the very common wheels on the side of the leg kind of look, but at least these kind of rotate and do something more than, say, Bumblebees or Drifts or Jazz. I mean, that's all very similar. This is very different, and I think that that's one of the aspects that I really like probably most about this guy. First articulation, you can see that head is on a bit of a ball joint. It is weird. It does, again, have light piping here on the back, but the eyes are painted blue, so why that is like that, I have no idea. The shoulders do rotate forward and back. They also can angle in and out, but this whole section here just really gets very sloppy, so you do have to be careful when you're fiddling with them because it will mess up. It's very unfortunate. It's not a quality control thing, I don't think. It's just the design. Like I said, these little nubs, you can kind of make it, let me see if I can get it angled there. You can kind of see it. That little nub just, it sits too low to actually catch on to these holes. So I get what they were doing, but they really should have made that little pin longer to be able to hit on there. So And I guess maybe you could force it up. You can force it up, but it doesn't even stay there. It needs to be longer. That's really what I think would fix that whole thing. He does rotate here at the elbow. It's on a ball joint, so the rotation comes there, and you can move it forward and back. And come down here, nothing at the waist. That's all locked together. The hips are on. They're not actually ball joints. They're just a couple different swivel joints. You got a swivel going right here, and then a swivel going there. You got a rotation here at the upper part of the thigh, and then you have a hinge moving forward and back for his knee. The ankles, as part of the transformation, can move forward and back. It doesn't move in and out or anything. So all the articulation is there that you would basically come to expect in the figure. And again, you fiddle with stuff and everything kind of just gets dislodged here. So getting that position back there, but I mean, very cool look for the guy. Now setting this there for comparison, well, we don't need this out, but for comparison, here's Sideswipe and here's RID Bumblebee. And again, these two I really do think are the best looking representations in terms of toy form when you compare how they look here to how they look in the cartoon. I think these guys both come across really very well and just look overall very super cool, but you can definitely see that animation style with a very angular design is even present here in the robot mode. It gives a kind of different sort of look and feel to Transformers. Now, to transform them back, we're going to bring this section back and out, kind of get this away from the body a little bit, pull this down, and then this, like I said, a lot of stuff just seems to kind of clash and bump into each other. So it's not a very fluid transformation. It's not bad, but I think if this was a more complex figure, it would be very frustrating to do. Kind of tip the head, bring this up just like so, kind of lock that into place, kind of bring these up just like so, just kind of, just going to leave them there. Take this section, rotate this back just like so. So you're going to bring this around, kind of lift that to clear this section. Then once you do, bring that around, peg these two halves together, bring these up just like so, and then you just take these and slot these in, and then you're just kind of fiddling with these to get the things to kind of tab in and line up properly. Basically, it's just a matter of squeezing things into place. So get that there, get that, come on. The doors tabbing in is a little bit of a pain, but you gotta squeeze and push. There we go. Get that there, come on, under there, just like that, squeeze everything. And there you have Sideswipe. Well, yeah, if you didn't have this down, just move that down, and that kind of locks down there. But once you're done, there you have Sideswipe back in his vehicle mode. Again, overall, I think that the car mode is really very sleek looking, very fun, very cool. I do really wish that they would get the paint thing down. I don't understand why that is a problem, especially when they get samples and they're like, hey, this color doesn't match. I mean, I understand that it's, you know, color palette 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. But on a different piece of material, it's going to be a little bit different, because this section right here, this is all clear. So, I mean, you can see that you got the clear windshield. This is clear, and that's just painted over it. But you got to take that into consideration when you're doing this stuff. So make that a little bit darker of a color. But I don't know. It's just weird that they don't think of something like that, or just don't care. But in vehicle mode, he does have his problems. Specifically speaking, this piece right here, that thing dangling down there, really does cause any kind of rolling issue. And if you're a kid playing with that, that just doesn't feel very cool or very good to roll around. So there is a design flaw in that aspect. The transformation is fairly simple. Things do kind of bump into each other, and as I said, if it was a more complex transformation, that constant bumping and moving parts and hitting other parts while you're trying to move another one would probably be very frustrating. But because it is a simple transformation, it's not all that bad. Robot mode looks really very cool. I love the design on them, and I love how it actually carries over with that actual animation look. It looks very cool. But again, design problems. This piece right here just doesn't tab in, so a lot of the problems are right in here. But all those, they're not quality control. I really don't feel. It's design choice, and I don't think that it was designed as well as it could be. So knocking off some points, obviously, for those things, I still like the figure. I think he's cool looking, and if you're collecting these, it's definitely a piece that you want to have in your collection. Now, Sideswipe as well as Jazz are slowly hitting retail, or as always, there's Big Bad Toy Store. So all you have to do is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to BBTS where you can pick this up and you can add them to your collection. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget that you can keep in touch with me by liking my Facebook page at facebook.com/TeamBotimus and by following me over on Twitter at twitter.com/Optibotimus. Also, I'd encourage you to check out my website at optibotimusreviews.com, where you can see all my videos from the previous week, see what I have coming up for future release, and also get your very own Optibotimus t-shirt. Also, I'd encourage you to check out Sabertron.com for all of your Transformer news as well as photo galleries on this and other Transformer figures. And finally, I'd also really appreciate it, guys, that if you like this review, don't forget to please like and comment and be sure to subscribe so that you never miss a future review. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.
You got the power. When all hell's breaking loose, you'll be right in the eye of the storm.
Autobots, transform and roll out.
Class dismissed.